Hello there, everybody. Welcome to our weekly Wednesday Ask Me Anything session. My name is Jeb. I'm with Conversion Pro, and it's my pleasure to speak to you all here today. What I'd like you to do is understand that the format of the session is meant to be kind of an Ask Me Anything sort of format, which means you can place questions within the chat, and those questions I'll try to get to as best I can. I usually do start each session with something of a lesson that's based on interactions I've had through the week with other members. And I'll just kind of go through some of those processes and then open up for questions. And let's go ahead and get started. So as we're proceeding along, please feel free to just ask questions at any time. You can either ask about what I'm teaching right now, or you can ask questions that can be answered later. So feel free to preload those questions if you have them. Let's go ahead and get started. Our first thing I'm going to go over today is how to use the funnel builder to create funnel pages. It's a very similar process if you decide to do some website pages through Conversion Pro. However, we do typically suggest that on your website the pages are built in WordPress, but the funnel pages are built very similar, so you'll kind of get a 2-for-1 here in this scenario. So if I want to build a funnel, what I'm going to do is, starting from the dashboard, I'm going to go ahead and select Sites. Okay, and you can see that up here we'll see funnels, websites, blogs, that sort of thing. We're just going to go ahead and do a new funnel. So let's go ahead and start from scratch, or we do have some templates available, but let's just go ahead and start from scratch. So we're just going to do we'll just title it, Why Should I List With You? So we're just going to call it that because, why not? Okay, so the first thing it's going to do, funnels are designed to be kind of multiple. There are multiple pages that are in like a path for people to go through. So you have like the first page, it's commonly referred to as like a welcome page or a first step page. And then what you can do is continue to build additional pages as you take people along through the funnel. So funnels can be very simple and have just 2 pages, or they can be quite extensive with multiple pages. I've seen them 8 to 20 pages sometimes if they're really extensive. But for the purposes of this, we're only going to go into a couple pages. Okay, so let's just go ahead, and each page of the funnel is called a step. So just be aware of that. I'm going to say add a new step, and then I'm just going to say welcome, or let's see here, why I should list with, or sorry, why you should list with me, and then it will automatically populate a path. If you do have a ClickFunnels account, there is a way to import the funnel from ClickFunnels, but I think most of you probably don't have that, so we're just going to do it from scratch. But this is a way to do it through just a ClickFunnels URL if you have a share funnel. So create funnel step. Now, the cool thing that happens is that we actually have the ability to add a split test. So a split test means that it will every other time, if we had 2 pages in this case, it would go between the first one and the second one, and it would alternate back and forth as far as which page it actually showed people that were visiting the funnel. This is something that if you're not quite sure about the design, or you've got some verbiage that you're testing out or titles that you're testing out, this is something that can automatically allow you to do that sort of A/B testing. And so you can test whichever one is better just by having a couple here. And so like I can say, so let's just go ahead and start here, and I'll go into the split testing in a second. So in this case, you can do either use existing, which means any funnel page that exists within your Conversion Pro account, you can copy using this. It'll just bring in all the text and the pictures and things like that, and you can just copy it in. So the first one I'm going to do is I'm going to do it that way, and then we're going to create one from a blank over here in the create variation. So let's go ahead and use existing, and we can choose a funnel. We're going to go ahead and base this on, let's go ahead and base this on the listing offer funnel. Kind of makes sense. And then you can see that we can choose a step from that funnel to actually just copy it over. So we're just going to go ahead and import it in, and see that's there. And then I can go to edit this page, and it will already bring in all the settings from that previous page. They'll be completely editable. You'll be able to go and make whatever changes that you would like, or you can just leave it the same. But for this purpose, obviously, we're going to change some things. You can see it already has your logo in there and that sort of thing. So I'm just going to change the title here to why you should list your home with me. Okay. And so I can go in here and change all this verbiage. I can change this setting here for the schedule a private call. I can change literally anything. So if I don't like how this is, I think it'll even let me do a drag and drop here. Yes, it would. So I can move things kind of back and forth. I can manipulate the photo. I can change out the photo. I can do pretty much anything I want to do. And those changes are made live here. So in this example, this is pretty similar, right? Why you should list your home with me to our listing offer funnel. So we wouldn't be making a lot of changes. But the thing to remember with this is you'll see that there are all these different colors that are kind of like going in and out, okay? So what happens is blue, that is a section, okay? So the way these are built is you have sections, rows, and columns and elements, okay? So briefly, the section is, we can add a section, and you can see it gives us options here: full width, wide, medium, small. Depending on the situation, you might want something kind of smaller, so we'll do small. We just click and drag it over here, and then I've added a section. So this is a section, right? Now it'll lead us through adding a row. So if I want to add a row, this is where columns come into play. Okay, so like let's say I want to do 3 columns. So so see how it automatically populated there. And now within each column, it's going to ask me to add an element. So I can just click on the add an element key. And let's say I want let's say I want a video over here. I'm going to put that there. And then let's say I want some text. This is obviously not necessarily what I would do here, but let's just go ahead and do kind of a subheadline because I want it to be a little bit bigger. And then over here, I'm going to get super fancy, and I want to show you this stuff anyway and do a form. Okay, so forms are something that are built under the Forms tab to go into each thing, and the forms are where the automation starts. So it's based on the form. It's not even really based on the funnel per se, but the form within it. So an example would be if you want to create a brand new funnel, you would want to create a specialized form just for that funnel, unless you want it to actually go through another workflow that you have already existing. So you can see that when I do this, I have all these things. You can see that they're labeled for you, right? You can see it's like all these different things are labeled based essentially on what funnel it's for. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a new form. And this goes very quickly. It's very intuitive. So we go to add new form. And what I can do is I can cheat and I can clone a form if I want to. So like, let's say, for example, since this is a listing offer situation, then maybe what I should do is create something based on that, or on the Market Insights report. But I think we have, the listing offer form. So this essentially is a form, and all we have to do here is we can duplicate it. And this one we're going to label, because we're a big believer in labeling. Why you should, sorry, should list your home with me. Okay, so I'm going to confirm it and title it that way. So there it is. And I can just say like, okay, let's take a look at to edit it to make sure it's okay. So this actually has like a bunch of fields in there, and maybe I don't want those. So they're actually fairly easy to eliminate. So let's say, for example, I don't care about the first name, last name, I can take that out. Phone, email might be right. Best time to contact, yeah, say I don't want that. These are, I'd encourage you to keep these because these might populate from wherever you are getting the lead from in this case, but these are hidden forms. They don't show up in the actual form itself. So, and I'm going to skip this part. Okay. And then, so we have that request a free call. And then let's say that I still want to use that. Okay. So request a free call. And then what I can do from here is check the settings. Just go ahead and say that. So here are all the fields that we have is available, but we have styles. We can change this to inline forms if you want something shorter. You see how it brings everything up. Now these, of course, would be blank. Okay. And let's say we don't like showing the labels because sometimes we don't. So we can change that here. And then our options are, open URL, or in this case, what we're going to do is change this. So I'm just going to make this blank, and I'll explain that in a moment. Okay. So I'm just going to do a thank you message and have it just say, yoo-hoo, where are you? There you are. Thank you. We will be contacting you shortly. Okay. So now I'm just going to save the form. And once I've done that, then I'm going to go back. Now that it's saved, I'm going to go back to this form picker. So just to this other tab. And then I'm going to look this up. Let's see, why I should get a home inspection. Okay, so this one might need to do that. Don't have any forms yet. So let me go ahead and trash this real quick. I think I have to bring it over because it has to populate from a newly saved form. So select your form. There it is. So now it's going to do this. Obviously, we have some formatting things to play with. So maybe what I'll do here is I'll just take out this, and then I can take out the column also. It'll automatically correct to being a 2-column. Okay. And then let's say I also want to add some verbiage down here, so I can go to elements, add element, and then I'll go ahead and go here, and I'll go ahead and just click and drag and add a paragraph. Okay, so now I've added this, and I've added a thing here. If I want to go ahead and add in a small video, I can do that also fairly simply. So maybe it's just pop it in here. There we go. Now it looks nice and even, right? So here's the form, and here's that. You can see I was just doing everything as a click and drag, all I was doing. And then you can make whatever changes down here you might find are appropriate or whatever. And then it already has some automations built in. So, you probably will want to go through and change this up a little bit, just because it will take them to something. It'll take them to, in this case, um, a pop-up that has them schedule a call. So we can do it that way, or what we can do is we can have this, like you'll notice on here, this is the form title, right? And then there's button actions, and you can use the action from the form builder, or you can go have it visit a website, or just go to the next step. Much of the time, we're going to just say go to the next step. Okay, and then we save that. So now we're all saved. Okay. One of the things you might want to do at this point is take a look, particularly if you've copied something over. You might want to take a look here. See, it says our exclusive listing process. That might be confusing. So we're going to change that. And then this one's fine. Description. These are all for SEO purposes. We're just going to save that again, and then we're going to go back. So now we have a, I think we're going to go back, aren't we? Yeah, it's still working on it. Okay, so if you're following me so far, what we've done is we've created the first step in the funnel. And if we want to do a split test, we can create a variation. So all we have to do is click on this. Okay, so the first thing it wants to do is add the domain. So we just go ahead and add that. Save. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and do create variation. So I can do a duplicate page, use existing, create from blank. So if I want to just start with this, particularly if I'm just going to do like a headline switch or something like that, then what I can do is I can do the variation. Okay, and then let's say, for example, let's see what this is. Let's say I'm just playing with headlines. Okay, so all I need to do at this point is just change the headline. Okay, so I'm just going to do something a little bit more obnoxious. List with me now. Okay, so we can just make whatever variations we want. We can change the layout. It's like I can take this and I can move it. So if I'm going to move this, see if it's a section, you can just hit this button and it will take it to up above. Or you can click and drag. And so now I've got a slightly different layout. It goes to this first, and then we have this. Obviously, I could have started with a completely different page, a completely blank page, or whatever. This is just to give the A/B test some power, some, something to do. So now what happens is when I go back to the thing, see how it says this is split, and then there's this thing here for variance. All I have to do now is just split this up, and then I can say, okay, I want to split it here. And then what happens is it will give us results from what happens with each page, your conversion rate from each page, and so you'll be able to, over time, figure out which one's better. So it's pretty powerful to be able to do that. And then now what we're going to do is just maybe add another step. And we're just going to say, thank you. Create funnel step. And then what we can do here is we can do a split for this one also. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, do this, and I'm going to say listing process success, because it's maybe kind of similar. And then go into editing that. And then again, I can just make whatever changes I want to make it more specific to this. So meant to be sort of a quick and dirty on how to do some funnel page creation. And you can go through and change all these, and it will only change what's happening with this funnel. It won't change anything else. So it won't like reach in and change the original funnel page or step that this is taking it from. Okay, so I can leave that, save it, and then now I have a completed funnel. So you can obviously add more pages. You can use AI if you would like to create more text, change the layouts. You can do pretty much whatever you're looking for. And then what I would like to do is just go in real quick to a blank. And all you have to remember when you're dealing with a blank is that you're going to have to do a section first, then the row, and then the elements. Okay, so think of it in terms of that hierarchy. So like right now, you can go full width, wide, medium, or small. So if I do that, see, I get this wide one. Okay, now I can add another section. I can make it medium. See how it's slightly narrower here, but in the preview it would make more sense. And then for each thing, I have to go through the process, decide how many columns I want. So like this might be just a 1 column. And then this one might be a 2 column. Okay, so section, then the rows, and then the elements, and it will bring you through it. If you forget all that, just hover over it and it'll tell you what it needs. So in this case, it needs an element. So we're going to add an element here, and we're just going to use an image. Okay. And if I want to, I can go to here and get my image. It's just down here on the left. Every element is changeable over here on the left-hand side. So I can do like, well, we can do about anything here. It doesn't really matter. I can put the logo. You know, I can upload an image from Canva or what have you and load that in. So let me take a look at this and see if I have anything here. Nope. Locate item here. Okay, so here's something. I can just say, hey, let's just do this because, you know, why not? So this now shows up in the top. So this can be like the top of it, and then you know, add your elements here, and it gives you the options here. So the add is kind of coming from the right, and then you're going to make adjustments to that individual thing on the left. So if I use this sort of video example here, you can see that I can choose the source. You can see I have YouTube, Vimeo. That's pretty much the ones that you do. I'd encourage you not to use the hosted videos just because the YouTube viewer and the Vimeo viewer are both going to be faster loading. So you can just add whatever YouTube video you want. Now, one of the cool things is that you can have it autoplay, you can give it controls, you can create drop shadows behind the boxes. There's all these different things that you can do within here. And so you just put the video URL here, make sure you have the right video type, and then you can either deny them controls and make it autoplay. But what I would do is I would skip that and I would actually have them able to do it, able to set it up themselves. Okay, it just depends on what you're wanting to do. And then again, add an element that'll come in from the right, and we can do let's do a map because, you know, why not? Do a map, and then here again, okay, we can say we want a roadmap, terrain, satellite, hybrid. Let's say we want to do a hybrid, and then we're going to search for an address, and we can search for whatever address we want. We can say, you know, like, I'm just going to do something like Central Avenue, Glendale, California, because, you know, why not? And then it will save that here. I mean, it's actually a pretty cool little feature. And then, but you can put whatever element over into here that you want. And that's just briefly building them from scratch. Just make sure that when you build these things, you give them a place to go, like have a button to go somewhere or something like that, even if it's just to a thank you page or whatever. And then obviously if you're at the thank you page step, then you've done what you need to do. And update, we're just going to do that. And then we will go back. Okay. So this shows you that we have two steps now. If we want to do some editing, we just go into here. We can edit this step, then we can edit this step, and then I can split it. Or if I'm not sure what I want to do, you know, I can obviously alter this. I can do 90% to the left and 9% to the right, etc. So it really does just depend on how you want to structure it. So hopefully that answers some questions on how to use the funnel page builder. So what I'd like to do is open up to any questions you all might have, either about funnel pages or about anything else from within the program. So let me just give you guys a few minutes to see if you have any questions, and then we'll go from there. Semi-funnels are pre-built in Conversion Pro. Okay, so pre-built in Conversion Pro, um, it's all under agency funnels, and so we have what do we have here? 10. We have here 9 or 10 is what you would have. So you would already have these things pre-built within your system. Um, good question, James. Our best funnels right now are actually listing funnels. So it depends on what you're trying to do. If what you're trying to do is build web traffic and create kind of that slow burn in terms of your in terms of acquiring your list and work to our teachings, where basically we're trying to get you to acquire as big a list as possible to be continually in contact with them, so that way your pool's bigger. Um, these funnels are all fairly effective. The one that's the most common one is this 3 things you need to know before you sell. That's the one that tends to get used the most. And it has been successful just in getting people kind of in that mind, because if you think about the question, it's actually kind of hitting them a little bit early. So it kind of fits right in with the contacting stream that we have. The other thing that's been effective also is actually your home listing ads going into a home listing funnel. So that's part of what Steve goes into in the 7-day challenge, where you list a specific home and then they're put into a funnel from there. They get the information for the IDX, etc., and then they're just contacted through that. That's also been very effective. So those are probably our top two. Would be either the 3 things you know before you sell, and then the listing funnel, and they're really for 2 different audience points, 2 different listing points. Um, so all these funnels pretty much they all go through the same thing. I know I've gone through this several times, but once they go through the funnel, they are added into a workflow. That's the automation that continues to have them contacted throughout. So our basic point behind that workflow is to get them to reach out to you at that point. So yeah, these are the top two. If I was going to do 2 things, what I would do is I would create a listing ad that's specific, not like it's specific to a property. If you don't have any listings right now, then you can obviously find a friend or something, or just do any listing you want. Um, and then I would do this 3 things you need to know before you sell. Can we edit the funnel? Yes, you have full editability for the funnels that you have. So if you want to change some of the information, mess around with it, and you can also change the split test if you would like. So if you go into this funnel, then you do have full editability to go in here and do it, or adjust the split or whatever. So what I would do if it were me and you wanted to play around with these is I would play with the variation perhaps, and if you wanted to like kind of mess around with that, and I'd leave this one going, and then I might also wait until I have sent people through the funnel to see if one's kind of outwitting the other one, and then I would change the one that was weaker. So yeah, you have full edit. And yes, in all these cases, these funnels are all tied in directly to a email sequence or workflow. So those are found under automation. So you see we have 3 things you need to know before you sell. It's labeled LM. If we go to automations now, these are workflows. LM stands for lead magnet. So you'll see lead magnet here. And then 3 things before you sell. This is the initial automation for that particular funnel. Okay, and so here we've assigned to user. This one's I've messed with before in a previous call. So it says, lead form submit. If you have a lead form that can connect just to this workflow, that's fine. So if you're taking care of some of the knowledge and things like that, you just want to send people right into this workflow, you can. And then here's all the emails and things like that. If you want to change that, this little icon here stands for email. So if you want to change the language within it, you can. They're designed to be very basic, and so you can obviously go through. This is a delivery. I wouldn't change that. But you can definitely go through and change some of the verbiage here if you would like. Just make sure you save the action and then save it here. Otherwise, it won't keep. And then once they go through the funnel, the workflow for that particular funnel, then they all go into our next section. So our next section is this prospect follow-up workflow. And direct calls to action, these are really short emails that basically are trying to get them to contact you. And then phase two is a little bit longer of a read. So it actually will it's meant to establish your expertise. So the emails are a little bit longer. But every single funnel that we build goes from the funnel to that specific workflow for that funnel. And then they all go into this phase one and phase two. So hopefully that answers your question about that. So do we have any more questions this time? Okay, excellent. Well, I encourage you guys, if you have any further questions, you can reach out through our support channel. That is found under support request here. It's by far the best way to get a hold of us. Also, we do have direct link to our YouTube station. What's the update? I haven't heard back on that yet, Shane. And then we have all of our published videos either here on our YouTube channel, and I believe most of you probably have access also through the member courses. You'll also see some videos there. But I encourage you all to go through and actually perform the 7-day leads challenge and get that done so that way you can start having leads processed into your app. So we can get that sort of thing rolling. So I assume that as soon as those videos from Thursday are published, I assume that you'll be notified, and then you'll have access to them at that point. So, and all these lives are actually instantaneously published on our YouTube channel, so you can see them right away as soon as they're done. They just go through a short publishing process. It's all automated, and then it just happens. And it looks like they're all there, so you can always refer back to these lives also as an ongoing thing. So. Are there any more questions? All right, excellent. So I'll see you guys again next week. In the meantime, please feel free to use the support request. Like I said, by far the best way to get a hold of us. And we hope to see you all soon. Take care. Bye for now.